Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Conversations Unplugged. I'm in conversation with Daisy Varun. As you all know, she is my guest for season one of Conversations Unplugged. Confidence is a very, very crucial aspect of our personality. A lot of people tell me, Deepa, I lack self confidence. What should I do? What are the step by step process to build confidence in me? So, we thought we'll delve a little bit deeper and talk about the 8 C's of confidence that Daisy has created. So, welcome, Daisy. Welcome to this episode of Conversations Unplugged. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm happy to be here again, and I'm really looking forward to the conversation. And especially when you say that, something that Daisy created, I feel a little awkward because, I always feel like it's everything is out there, It's just that maybe, yeah, putting it together as 8 C's is an effort that was written for me to do. But I think it's all very commonsensical stuff. It's everyday experience for everybody. We experience it every day. So I'm still a little hesitant in calling it that I created. But yeah, in all practicality, the 8 C's were put together by me. So thank you for introducing it like that. Thank you so much.
All right. So let's begin with understanding the word confidence because it could mean different things to different people. So when
Yeah.
you hear the word confidence, what does it bring up for you?
A lot of things, a lot of things. It's a combination of, first of all, knowing that you're safe. Safety is the first thing that comes in for making you confident. And I think that's where a lot of it goes missing.
Mhm.
From childhood, the situations that we are put in, the rejections that we have to go through, the reprimand that we have to go through. Somewhere constantly, there's this threat looming that, I'm not safe. And so confidence begins with that kind of safety. And then it is also a point to understand in terms of um, your self-assuredness that I am who I am. I'm good as I am. I could not have been another way, you know and being okay with that, that brings a lot of confidence. A lot of confidence is lost in constantly trying to negate ourselves, negate our reality, negate who I am, negate what I have, negate uh, you know people around me. A lot of those things take away the confidence. A lot of confidence comes from having that faith and both belief and faith in the people around you, in the environment around you. It is what it is, and it is meant for a reason. It is there because it is teaching you something. So all of these things put together make confidence. And then, of course, how you are fed information about various things, about yourself, about your circumstances, about the worldview, everything. That the more borrowed a life you live, the less confident you're going to be. The more lived a life experience you live, the more confident you're going to be. That's
Wow.
why old age is very, very confident. Youth is very, very underconfident because they're living a borrowed life. But old age, by the time people, start getting to a certain age, they start letting go of all the borrowed notions, and they're more comfortable in their skin. Therefore, you will see people who are 60 plus, 70 plus, उनके जैसा confidence तो कहीं देखने को नहीं मिलेगा. They have seen it all. So, the more you live out of your lived experience, the more confident you're going to be. So it's a combination of a lot of things for me. So if you ask me to put a finger to it, I can't. But still, how do we make it more tangible and chaseable, so to say, that how to work on it, how to make it work for me? There are a few things, a few pointers that we can put together and say that okay, this will help you start believing in yourself more. This will give you that assurance that, yes, you are good enough. This will help you improve your self-worth. This will help you, believe in your own merit. So yeah, that's the effort of 8 C's that I tried to put together for everybody.
Fantastic. I think from where you started, it's about feeling safe. And
Yes.
everything else that you spoke about, the environment, the self assuredness, the
Yes.
living a lived life, having
Mhm.
the ability and the permission, giving ourselves the permission to
Yes,
live
yes.
and experience life is where confidence emerges from. So I think all of this
Absolutely.
builds safety, isn't it? That's what safety means. Just safety of being ourselves. Is that what safety is?
Safety is acceptance.
Hmm.
Acceptance is safety.
Okay, so
So everything
acceptance.
builds toward,
Okay, go
sorry,
ahead.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying acceptance of who we are, acceptance of what makes us, the uniqueness that we all carry. Is that what we have to
Everything,
accept? Mhm.
everything put together. So you see, why does a child feel the safest with the mother? Little infant, just born.
Yeah,
When
so
does a little, yeah, when
mhm.
does an infant feel stop crying? Okay, so infants, they express by crying and smiling. Those are the only two expressions they know. So if you see an infant crying, 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 what do you think brings them calmness?
It's when the mothers hold the infants and they bring them close to themselves, right? That's what.
Close to themselves, that
Yeah,
that holds, that I hold you close.
yeah.
I accept you. You may be burping, vomiting, pooping, pissing. I don't care. I hold you close. You're safe in these arms.
Yeah.
You're safe on this bosom. So that's what is safety.
Mm.
So acceptance is safety, and that is what makes you confident. You join a new office. If you're accepted, you feel safe. And if from day one, the moment you joined, and acha, oh, you were not, you know only so much, you don't know this, oh, you don't know even how to do that, you're constantly facing this rejection. You're not
Mm.
safe. Okay? Safety can be threatened in so many ways. You go into a meeting and you feel you're not dressed for it, and everybody else is looking at you. You're getting that double take for the wrong reasons. You won't feel safe. You'll always feel, oh, I'm not in the right place. So there's so many examples. You can look at it in
Yes.
so many ways. It's all about how well are you being accepted. And it
Yeah.
also includes self-acceptance. So both ways, internal, external.
Fantastic. I think that's a very, very good beginning to talking about confidence, because now we move on to the 8 C's. And like you said, how can we become more confident? So we are where we are. It could be the environment, it could be a family, it could be the friends, everything that surrounds us, and our own understanding of who we are, whether we accept or we don't accept. So from that baseline of where I am, what are the steps that could help us build a more confident outlook, and where we can show up with a lot of reassurance that it's okay, who I am and where I am is the best place that I could be in the moment, and
Yes.
I have to start from here. So walk us through the steps that could help us build this outlook to living a good life.
Sure, sure. So, once again, we go back to the family. So all your sense of safety, self-worth, love, acceptance, assurance, everything comes from the family. And therefore, the first C naturally is conditioning, because it's all about the upbringing. It's all about, who are the people that you are, what people teach you. A lot of it comes from there. So when we talk family, the first thing we have to understand is that everything they give us is how, those are the filters that we start seeing the world through. And these filters are called conditioning. So the first thing is to examine those filters and see, did I get the right set of filters at all? And maybe it was a good filter at that time. Should I continue to look through this filter? Should I continue to look at the world through the same set of, you know, filters that I've been given, or is it time to change that? So if you start examining your own set of rules, regulations, beliefs, um, prejudices, biases, a lot of it is a lot of work in terms of sitting with that and sifting through and saying, okay, does it still apply? Does it still apply? So, like for example, young kids are given a rule: you have to be home before sundown. But does it apply when you're 40? When you're 4, it applies. But does it apply when you're 40? It doesn't apply, right? So, what all filters you're living through is the first thing that you have to sit down and work through, and about various things, about health, about money, about relationships. I think two things that hinder the most: your belief about relationships, and I'm not talking intimate relationships. Relationships mean your relationship with anything, okay? And uh, and the ideas about money and wealth. Everything else does not become such a huge filter because the society that we live in, these two filters are huge. People are either talking money or talking relationships. Your problems are either around money or around relationships. Your joys are around money and around relationships. Your success is around money and around relationships. So these two filters have actually grown big, sometimes out of proportion. But there are many more filters. How we perceive things, how we um, accept and reject, how we judge, all of that. So you have to sit down and really think through what are the conditionings, what are the various things that you've been conditioned with, what are the various thought processes that you've been conditioned with, what are the various cultural, traditional, religious beliefs that you've been given. Do they apply? And that's what conditioning is about. So the first two C's in the 8C model is the first two C's are the ones which are the hindering factors. And then the third one is a transitioning factor. And then comes the factors, the other 5 are the ones that help you build it. Once you are able to, come to ground zero, from there you build it. So that's how the first C goes.
Okay, so I love the first C, which is, I think we've spoken a lot about conditioning in our last episodes as well,
Yes.
and how important the role that conditioning plays in how we look at ourselves, how we look at life. And like you were saying, relationships and wealth or money. I think these two are big categories of life which determine the quality of our life, right?
And your confidence.
And your confidence, since we're talking confidence,
Yeah.
absolutely. And one thing that I would just like to reiterate from what you said, which just stuck with me, is yes, evaluate the filters with which we're seeing the world, but the more important thing is ask yourself if those filters are still working for you or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's very important. We think what worked for us when we were a 5-year-old kid will continue working for us our entire life.
Yes.
Right? So it's okay to give up on these beliefs and to form new empowering beliefs which are more aligned to who you are and who you are becoming in the process, and not just living by the rules that we've learned as we were growing up. I think that's a very, very important one.
In fact, just yesterday I was citing this example in some context in a training, that there's a very interesting story that goes around on WhatsApp and Facebook and everything. Have you heard of that story, the Thanksgiving turkey?
No.
So there was this man who would buy the biggest turkey and bring it home for the ceremony, the Thanksgiving, the dinner. But his wife would always, cut it to a small proportion. You remember that one?
Yes, I've read it, but it's a very interesting one. I think you should share it. Yeah, go ahead.
And he would get really frustrated about it, that मैं तो ढूंढ के सबसे बड़ा टर्की लेके आता हूँ और ये उसको काट पीट के छोटा कर देती है. So then one day he asked her and she said, I don't know, this is what my mother taught me. So he said, okay, dear mom comes for dinner, I'll ask her. तो सासू माँ आती है, वो पूछता है कि भाई why this particular size? And she says, I don't know, my mother taught me. So thankfully the grandma was alive, grand sasu, first sasu was alive. So he goes to that lady and asks, and she says, well, I had only that much of an oven.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. It was a small oven. It applied at that time. Now you have a wall size, appliance. So how does it apply?
Yeah, yeah. Such a beautiful story, and it just opens up so many different aspects of layers of questions that we can ask ourselves to get rid of something that we're just living by because someone told us to live by those
Because someone told
rules.
us to.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so that's the first one, which is conditioning. What's the second one?
The second is conformity.
Mm-hmm.
So मम्मा ने कहा ऐसे ही बनाना है तो अब हम ऐसे ही बनाएंगे. I'm not going to use my own mind. I'm not going to experiment with it. I'm not going to see, okay, if I change the proportion of cooking this dish, how will it be? So am I going to really conform to the rules that I've been given and follow them you know, blindsidedly that अच्छा बस यही है, इसके अलावा कुछ है नहीं. So that's conformity. Conformity is very easy to understand. Conformity means I have agreed to the rules that are given to me.
Mm.
And I'm going to, like an obedient child, comply throughout till the time I'm alive. प्राण जाए पर वचन न जाए. I'm not going to change it. That's it. Conformity is just that much.
Yeah, and I think why we conform is also important, right? If we can talk about that a little bit. So, why do people live by the rules that have been taught to them, or why do they? And I'll give my personal example. So, in a recent discussion with another, person, and we were talking about these rules and beliefs, and I realized one of the things that I have conformed to my entire life, and I don't know from where I picked up, is I have to start from the beginning. So the books that I read, I cannot skip pages. I have to start from where I start. At the first page of the book, I cannot miss. So it's a very structured way of reading. Now that conformity that I have set for myself, that rule that I've been following for now 50 years, has actually created problems where I didn't like certain books or certain sections of the book, and I couldn't jump forward because in my mind it was like, no, you can't skip, you have to follow through.
Mm-hmm. So did
Right?
you finish reading the book?
Yes, after I had that conversation, I realized that this is something which is stopping me from moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And how I have adhered to that guidelines or principle or anything that I can call it, but that had stopped me from experimenting or reading different books or just not aligning to what I thought I should be doing. Right? So what in your mind makes people conform? Why do they do it? What's the driving force?
So you tell me what made you conform?
For me, it was very simple. It was probably that I just need to do it like this. It was a simple rule that was taught to me. It worked for me. Okay, so here's what it is. Because I read my books and I did not leave anything for my exams, I was always a good student. I finished from start to end, so I got great marks. I was a gold medalist. It worked for me.
Lovely. Then there's no problem. Problem comes when conforming leaves you in trouble. I'll give you some very radical examples here.
Mm-hmm.
So I know of people, and some of them have been in therapy, healing with me. So one of the roles that people conform to, especially women, motherhood, है ना, वो उसको इतना फैंटेसाइज कर दिया गया है, इतना ग्लोरीफाई कर दिया गया है. छोटी छोटी बच्चियां होती हैं, वो खेलती हैं तो वो मम्मी बनना चाहती हैं. So there is this entire um, um, what do you call it? There's a word for it. I'm missing it. Um, so motherhood is such a big thing. So there are women who have conformed to becoming mothers, even though deep in their hearts they knew that they were not meant to be mothers. They have struggled through marriages, pregnancies, uh, child rearing, bringing up kids. They have lived such unfulfilled lives. And now, when the children are out of their nest at 55, they breathe a and say, I wasted a lifetime. I don't know what I'm going to do now with what is left in my hand. That's the problem with conformity. You know what I'm talking about? Reading a book in a certain way could be a pattern, that also is a way of saying that, okay, I was conditioned to read in a certain way and I conform to it. And because you conform to it, it works for you. Great. Whatever is working for you is great. See, anything that parents teach us, they teach us to make our lives better, right? But it's not necessary that every lesson they give us will stand the test of time and temperament and situation. You know what I mean? Everybody is evolving, everybody is different. The same thing does not work in the same way for everybody. But it is so difficult for a young girl to say that I don't want to have kids. Now, let me give you one more. I know of a friend, okay? She does not have children. It was her husband's decision to not have kids. And he told her after marriage. And for her, her world has come down crashing, shattered. By now, she has made peace with it, but she went through her own ups and downs through that. But she couldn't walk out of that marriage. She has lived a very compromised life in that marriage because for her, a huge part of her has been robbed off from her. She is not allowed to become a mother and she is not allowed to adopt as well. The man doesn't want children in his house. That's simple as that. Adopted or, I mean, if you want to have a child in the house, why not your own? But he does not want a child in the house at all. That's it. So you see, it is these complex situations that conditioning and conforming really leaves you in a soup.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, now I can think of, especially from a woman's perspective, once you get into a marriage, it's like you just have to compromise and be there forever. It doesn't matter
Yes.
what is happening to you in that marriage, right? So that's another
And in the
unsaid
bargain,
rule.
yeah,
Yeah.
and in the bargain, she has taken on every stress-borne disease that is possible.
Disease. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes we just learn from what's happening in our environment. So how did our mothers, how were
Yes,
our mothers, or how did we see our relatives, or what did we hear growing up? I think all of those things condition us. And once
yes,
we are conditioned, we conform to that. So that's how the first two C's,
yes.
and yeah, these are big. There's so many cultural rules that have been put on us as well. As a daughter do this, as a mom do this, as a wife do this, or even as a husband do this, or the male has to do it, all the biases and
All
everything
the
that we have. Yeah, all of
all
those. So
conforming.
yeah, yeah. All right. So conditioning and conformity. What's the third one?
Third is the challenge. That's the transitioning C.
Hmm.
If you learn to challenge,
So
can
once you
you stand up and
understand, sorry, go
huh.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. Once you understand,
Now I was saying, once you question your filters and you see what conditioning is not working for you right now, where are you
yes,
confirming that's not aligned to who you're becoming? So you
yes.
challenge.
So you challenge. So you challenge. This is what I want. This is what I don't want. This is what I want to be. This is what I don't want to be. This is how I want things to work. This is not how I want things to work. And take ownership of that. Now, here is a huge, this is a big one because once you challenge, then it's a decision that is totally yours, totally yours. Then you have to own it up. Whatever the consequences, now you have to own it up. So you say you don't want to become a mother, own it up. You say you want to become a mother, own it up. If you think that not becoming a mother is a huge compromise in your life, by all means you have the right to ask for a solution to it. If not a solution, then the best solution is to walk out of that marriage and be with a man who wants kids as much as you want kids. If you don't want to become a mother, don't become a mother, because then you're making 5 unhappy lives. You are unhappy. That unhappiness is going to reflect in the upbringing of the kids. The kids will grow up with some sort of damage somewhere, and the cycle will continue. And then everybody is trying to run back to their inner child workshop to find out
Hmm.
what went wrong in my childhood. What went wrong in your childhood is that the adults in your life actually never stood up for themselves.
Hmm.
And you have taken on all that shit, all that, residue, or overflow of their unhappiness has now seeped into you. And now you are struggling with it. And now you are running after, okay, how do I use an affirmation, and how do I use a healing, and how do I use a CBT, and how do I use, so you're running after all of this to see how to make myself whole. And the more you're running out, the more inconfident you're feeling within, because something is missing inside. And you want to fill that hole, you want to fill that void, and it's not getting filled. And that's leaving you feeling more and more stressed, because now you're 20 and 30 and 40 and you're still not feeling confident. Oh my God, there must be something so wrong with me. At 40, at 50, I'm still not feeling confident. I'm still wearing a mask. The moment I keep that mask away, I know who I am, and that's not a good picture. So that's why challenge is important. The sooner, the better. Yes, it's going to be a little difficult. It sometimes can get ugly, because you may have to really fight for your point, for your place, for your sanity. It requires a lot of courage, a lot of courage. And that comes from how strongly, how deeply do you want to become the person you want to become?
Right.
Are you driven enough to become the person you envisioned for yourself when you were 5, 7, 10, 12, 15, 18? If you were taught compromise very young and you conformed to it, you're going to live a very compromised life. Whether you're a boy or a girl, doesn't matter. If you were told that, oh, you being the eldest boy in the family are responsible for the rest of the family, and now you start compromising on your little joys. You won't do things because you have three sisters to look after, three siblings to look after, brother, sister, whatever, so you have to get them their studies, and you have to, fine. I'm not saying not pay attention to the family, but all I'm saying is understand how compromised the life you're living and how it is impacting your confidence. If it is not impacting your confidence, if it is giving you strength, by all means continue to do that. Strong family ties are important. Strong sense of responsibilities also bring in a lot of confidence. But what I'm trying you to understand is how the two things are related. So whatever you are doing is great if it is keeping you confident. But if it is making you feel that you're living a compromised life, I can give it in writing. I'm ready to bet anything. If deep within you feel that you're living a compromised life, you're not actually, honestly, authentically confident. You may wear a mask. Everybody does that.
Yeah. Fantastic. So challenge comes, okay, so it's sometimes simple to just challenge and say, no, I want this, I want that. But then what I hear, you say is that to live that challenge, you also need to be courageous,
Yes,
because then we have to own up the consequences of making that
yes.
choice or choosing that decision or challenging that conformity
Challenging
that
that
we
conformity. Yes,
yeah. And the more compromised we feel, or the more compromises that we are making to the way we live life, the more it's going to impact the confidence, because
yes,
it's gradually getting drained. It's not a overnight thing, but it's like slowly, dhire karke, we'll see from 100, our confidence has come down to a 10 or 20 or 30 or whatever the case may be. Right? So it's the
sometimes people
gradual
start
loss.
with a very
Mm.
sometimes people start with a very low count on confidence, and over
Ah,
a period of time their confidence hits such a low that
yeah.
they can't face the challenge of life anymore,
Mm.
and they take
Yeah.
those drastic steps
Yeah,
that we
yeah,
all dread.
absolutely, absolutely. Okay,
They slip into depression.
yeah, yeah. And I love what you said about, the inner child. We go back and see, okay, what was wrong in my childhood? What kind of inner child healing we need to take. And then we realize that the parents or the adults in our life did not own up their lives, or they lived a
Yes,
compromised life, and their unhappiness and their dissatisfaction with life has actually seeped into us. And that is what is causing now for me to live the life that I am living. And it's all very um, it's not very explicit, so it takes a
yes,
lot of time to reach that place where you realize, okay, this is happening.
yes, yes. And that's why sitting down with that, you know, bunch of filters to assess them is very, very important.
Mm.
Because you don't know it very, even if you know it at some point, you've been taught to be this nice person, nice girl, nice boy, nice daughter, nice son, nice wife, nice husband, that you never voice it out. The fear of judgment and rejection is so strong that I can't even say what I think and feel. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to keep role playing the best wife, the best mom, the best daughter, the best daughter-in-law. I'm going to keep role playing that. And every day, at the end of the day, I'm going to be so tired of this game of playing the best wife, best mom, best husband, best son, best son-in-law, daughter-in-law. I'll have nothing left to offer to people who are the most dear to me. And that's why husbands and wives are the least happy with each other, because that's the relationship where they should be giving the most of themselves. But by the time they come back to each other, after playing all the role playing, at the end of the day,
Mm.
when they come back to each other, there's nothing left to offer to each other.
Yeah. I feel tired just listening to it, just.
I'm sorry if I'm disappointing you.
No,
Um,
no, this is
but
reality.
these
But
are the bitter realities of,
yes,
life.
yes, 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 absolutely. No, I'm saying, just hearing that we're playing, trying to be the best in every role that we're playing, and we're playing so many roles the entire day, it can be so draining.
Yes.
It just seeps the energy out of us, and then we're not left with any energy. And then at the end of the day, we are like, oh, just leave me alone. Let me be, because I'm tired.
And then it what do you call it? It's a double bind again.
Ah,
So because by the end of the day, the most important relationship that I have nothing left to give to that relationship.
yeah.
That relationship, which is supposed to, be your haven, be your rejuvenation, be your joy, that becomes a drain on you, and then that starts again. The cycle starts. So that
Mm.
happiness starts spilling over into other roles, into other, assignments that you're doing, into other tasks that you're doing, and then it keeps on going on like that.
Yeah, yeah. So I think this is a good point to wrap up our episode today, because we discussed the two C's that we started with, which are the challenges to confidence, and we spoke about actually challenging those two C's, which is the transitioning phase, and then the next five C's are where you're going to build up the confidence.
Yes.
So my invitation to the audience today is to go back and take this week, before we talk about the rest of the five C's, to reflect on what filters have you applied in your life. What is it that you need to give up now? Where are you conforming? And how can you challenge with courage? I think these are the things. If you just sit down with yourself, journal it out, or reflect, then the next five C's will help you to build confidence, and from wherever you are, it will take you a notch higher. So
Yes,
any
I
other
hope.
recommendations that you have for our readers, to how could they reflect on the top three C's, or what could they do to to help them discover the responses to the top three C's? Any
I
recommendations that
think
you
you
have?
already mentioned journaling is one of
Mhm.
the tools that people can use. Another one is, talking to someone that they really trust.
Okay.
Some people don't like writing. Like me, I'm not a journaling type. Um, it takes a lot of effort for me to sit down and write, but I love contemplating internally. So a lot of people like contemplating, but even then, whatever you have crystallized out of your entire thought process, you should be able to have a record of that in some form. So I usually do my voice notes and my records, and I keep it
Okay.
in that form. So some people can do the audio recordings for themselves. Some people like a sounding board. Like my daughter, she cannot do neither writing nor recording. She needs someone to talk to, and she comes to me and she tells me, "Mom, don't advise me. I just need a sounding board." So if you have someone like that in your life that you can use as a sounding board, by all means, go ahead and do that. The idea is to be able to be honest with yourself and face your own thoughts, whether it is in the form of writing or reflecting or soundboarding, whichever way it works for you. You know.
Fantastic. So let's do that, and then we'll come back and talk about the next five C's, which will take our confidence to the next level. So thank you so much, Daisy, for this insightful conversation. I'm sure
Thank
our
you.
audience is going to reflect the coming week and then come back and listen to you with the next 5 C's to build their confidence and take it to the next level. So thank you so much for sharing. Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye-bye.